Welcome to the Interviews with Really Productive People series. Today we're sitting down with Elina Bumbiere, who is the co-founder of Younger Studio. Elina, can you tell us a little bit about what Younger Studio is?
I can, and just to quickly sum it up, I'd say it's a digital user experience studio. And by that I mean we do user research and kind of look at user experience from the very beginnings of understanding who the customer is, researching that, and then developing the end product that they actually need and will use.
From what I understood, you've recently moved from a salaried position to running your own business. What's it like going from a structured work environment to having all of the freedom to structure your own day?
In the beginning, it's very easy to be super motivated because you've just branched out and you've started your own thing and you have so much to prove, not only to everyone else but to yourself as well. So you feel very motivated and ready to conquer the world. And then as the months go by and you understand that I've proven that I can do this to myself and to others, you're faced with the reality that you have to structure your day, you have to schedule things, you have to plan in order to really motivate yourself and to get things done. You don't really have anyone else who can kind of tell you what to do, what are the tasks that you should be doing this day, what are your goals. You can set those things up for yourself, which is really great because you can do the things that you're most excited about. What I also like is the fact that I can work with so many different projects and so many different people and learn about new things, where if you're working your classic regular 9-to-5 job, you're more or less becoming an expert in one specific field and you're not really branching out and widening your horizons. So that's the aspect that I really appreciate, the opportunity to learn and to experience a bunch of different products.
Can you give us an insight into what one of your typical days looks like?
I think my typical day doesn't start at 9 a.m. and doesn't end at 5 p.m. It's much more, I'd say, complex than that. And it's really difficult to tell you exactly one routine that I follow because every day can be so different. I usually have a couple of meetings with clients. I really like doing meetings and seeing people face to face, not only communicating through email, Slack, Skype, all the other technologies, but I like being there with people. So I usually schedule meetings. So I probably have 1 or 2 meetings every single day. And then I just do a lot of work that I have planned for that day. And whether it's working from home, whether it's being at a co-working space or, at a meeting or anywhere else, even a coffee shop. It's just, structuring your day accordingly around the meetings and then planning everything else whenever I have free time. I like having the opportunity to move things around if that's necessary. So that's one aspect that I would take into consideration when describing my day.
Do you use any tools or processes to make sure that you're on track?
One thing that I definitely do, and this is something that I've been doing for years, I actually like dividing my projects into much smaller tasks because it gives me a feeling of accomplishment every single day. And this is something that I did with my thesis when I did my thesis a couple of years ago in university. I knew that it would be very difficult for me not to kind of push the work back to the last minute and be stuck with 200 pages to write. The thing I did was I gave myself deadlines every single week when I had to meet with my professor and show her what it is that I've done in the last week. Doing that helped me to accomplish everything I needed to accomplish for that week. Even if I did it the day before, it still meant that I had done the chunk of work that I wanted to do. And it's the same philosophy that I have adopted for how I work now. I basically have a project and I like kind of dividing it up into much smaller tasks. And I know that if I do this today, by the end of the week, I will have accomplished the thing that I wanted to accomplish. And having that, that little check mark that you can mark as this is done at the end of the day, at least for me, it gives a big accomplishment, like I've done something today.
Mm-hmm. And so when you're talking about that check mark, is that check mark in a notebook? Is it in a to-do app? What's your process?
I can be very old school and I like writing things down because I think that's how my memory works. But I do also use a bunch of planning tools because I don't work alone and it's just much easier for other people to follow my progress. Team Gantt is a very, very cool tool that I like to use just to kind of visually show myself and other people who are involved with many different projects what the timeline looks like, where are some tasks that overlap. Everybody should think about, if they're working with multiple clients, is how do you keep track of every single thing that you've done for every single customer. Having time tracking, whether you want to write everything down or you can just have something that's automated on your computer, helps a lot, because at the end of the day or at the end of the week or month, when you need to send out your bills, it really helps out to see how much time you've spent on every single project. In addition, not only, the invoicing part is helpful, but it can help you plan for future tasks. Especially if you're doing something for the first time and you don't know how much time this is going to take me to do. Tracking the time that you spend working on a specific task helps you plan for next future tasks that are similar. Previously I did this in 3 hours, so I'll probably do this similar task in another 3 hours. It just helps you plan your time more neatly.
How do you control all of these different tasks? Do you write them in an Excel sheet? Do you use an app? What's your preferred method?
I've tried the Excel sheet. I tried Google spreadsheets, which, similar concept. You have to be very manual about it. You have to write everything down. It can be done that way. It's just not my preferred method, simply because, like we just discussed, it takes up a lot of time. I prefer a tool that takes care of all the time tracking for me. I still use Desktime, and I think it's great because it runs in the background. I don't have to think about it unless, I really want to think about it, open it up and, make a couple of marks, notes, see how my day is going, what progress I've made. But other than that, I don't have to do anything. It runs, does its job, and I can just look at the data at the end of the day, or at the end of the week or month. Scheduling every single thing is very, very time consuming, and at least I don't want to be spending time on making sure that I have tracked every single thing that I have written down. I just like the convenience of someone else tracking my productivity and me not having to do anything.
So one thing that I've noticed a lot about people who are running their own business, working for themselves, it's very difficult to separate work from life. How do you manage that?
I've definitely struggled with it, I'll be honest with you. It's not easy. I know that my laptop is right there. I can just grab it. I can finish this task, and if I do it today, I won't have to do it tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and there are other things to do, new tasks. So I've realized multiple times that if you don't have a cutoff time for yourself, you'll just keep going. That's how I've experienced it in the past, and I'm not a big fan of it. I like a little bit more of a structure. I don't want to be working, over the weekend, and that's what I just try to do. I just try to be strict about it. It's 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., that's it. My laptop goes away. I don't work. I can't say that I have followed through with that 100%, but I think I am getting better, and having that structure helps me a lot.
What would be your advice to someone who also might be just starting out on their own?
It's very easy to get carried away and, when you want to do everything that one day because you feel like you have to prove something to yourself and to others. Try sticking to a routine or figuring out a routine early on. The sooner you do it, the easier it will be for yourself to set rules, guidelines, and to plan accordingly. Because if you don't plan, if you don't set a routine, you'll keep taking on tasks, not knowing how much time you actually have for them. And that can lead to some very unproductive and unprofessional outcomes. You've taken on more than you can actually accomplish, and then the deadline comes and you don't have a routine and you can't squeeze in this one task that you have to do, and that's it.
Thank you for your in-depth insight. Now we're going to move on to our rapid fire round.
Oh no.
We're going to ask you some questions, and without thinking about them too much, just give us the first thing that comes to mind.
See, that's difficult because I always think about things.
Night owl or early bird?
Night owl.
Favorite place to work from?
Home.
Favorite book?
The Book Thief.
One rule you live by?
I've always liked the saying that life is bigger than you.
Your role model?
I actually don't have one. No one that I can think of, and I don't want to, say someone's name if I don't really think that they are a role model.
Music while working, yes or no?
Yes.
Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
Thank you very much for the time that you've spent with us today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And that's all we have for you today, but make sure to like this video and subscribe if you would like some more videos on productivity tips and insights. And if you have any questions for Elina, make sure to leave them in the comments.
Yep.
Till next time.